Every time I hear hornacious is what I think. Maybe he's the head horny chief, I don't know. All right, welcome back to the show. Today's episode, we are going to discuss Lord of Mysteries, episode 6. War, tell us what this episode's about.
Yeah, so Klein already discovers an ancient secret about his teacher, Azik Eggers.
Yeah, this was a good episode. It was full of lots of information. I feel like we got a real good insight into Klein's life, kind of his emotional state, as well as his connection with his teacher.
Definitely, there was a lot to unpack in this episode, and I'm really happy that they gave us some insights more into, Klein's background, his teacher, and some other little, foreshadowing pieces that they've sprinkled throughout the other earlier episodes.
Yeah, there was a lot of foreshadowing about Klein's fate. I think that was kind of the important piece of information in this whole episode, is how his fate is clouded and there's some sort of source of high energy residing around his fate.
Yeah, I remember that scene. That was really when Azik was talking to him in his office, right? And he was telling him that...
On multiple occasions, he mentioned that there was some sort of power residing around Klein, a higher power, which, we've already kind of foreshadowed that ourselves. That there's something pulling the strings behind Klein, with the fog and all these other things that are going on. So that was interesting that Azik mentioned the same thing as well in this episode. Kind of gives everybody the idea that this is a true thing. There's a higher power just chilling around Klein.
But yeah, overall sentiment of the episode was it was a phenomenal episode. A lot of good action scenes. The art scene was amazing. Like the details of the world that they built, the castle itself, the fantasy base of it, even when it was destroyed and when it was recreated back. It was a gorgeous episode all around. And I guess we got a few fighting scenes in this episode that were pretty dope. I really liked the sword fighting scenes too. They were sick.
Yeah, it was very Elden Ring lore base-ish. That's how I felt about it.
Call out to Bloodborne for me a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. But let's start with the scene with Elizabeth having dreams now. And, Elizabeth was basically within that scene with Mr. Vincent. So I'm guessing she gained some kind of clairvoyancy ability now where she just has dreams.
Right. That part was a little confusing to me. I'm not entirely sure. So it started off with her in a dream, right?
No, she's having dreams.
She's having dreams.
About the castle and the wraith.
Right. And I think what confused me was, and then we will get back into that later on, was the scene that when Klein went back to the castle, then was he in a dream or was he there in place, like in real life?
He was there, but wraiths reside in, I guess, a dream world. Sort. So he was in a dream during that battle.
Yeah, that's right. Because he did start it off by saying, this is a dream raid. I recall him saying that.
Yeah, and then you're talking about the scene with Lamud Castle, when they were at the castle.
Right, Lamud.
And that was funny, because when the wraith elbowed Klein, I was just like, oof. He finally takes an L. His eyes turn red, but he was like, there's no pain. He's like, what's going on? That was the first time Dunn Smith was like, I got this.
Right.
We're in the dream world. I got this.
That was a little bit funny to me because at the end of the day, what has the Matrix taught us, If you die in your dreams, you should die in real life.
Yeah, but... I don't know if
Brain
he was dying. He just got elbowed.
Shook. It looked like his eyes were popping out of his skull there for a second.
Yeah, that's true. But then the sun emblem broke the dream because you could see the cracks on the screen. That was basically when the sun emblem's power kind of activated and then broke out of the dream world.
Right. So, did it break out of a dream? That's the thing that was confusing to me because I think they were in a dream from the get-go, right? I don't even think they were in a real place.
No, they were in her dream. Place. No, they weren't in her dream.
Oh, no?
They were actually at the castle.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so the wraith was just guarding the castle then?
The wraith was guarding the castle, yeah.
Okay.
His son's soul has resided at the castle for thousands of years.
All right. Well, then I guess it got confusing to me because he said in the very beginning, this is a dream raid. So he made it sound like they were in a dream doing a raid.
No, he broke the dream, and then their actual selves came back to where they were.
Got you.
So once the sun emblem broke the dream, then they were free. You don't remember because like after that scene, Klein and Dunn Smith and I forgot who the other guy's name is.
Yeah.
They basically walk away. They leave Klein alone, and that's when he starts examining the sun emblem.
Well, they went to go get some sleep, but
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. No, they didn't. They said we'll be right outside
yeah, they went to get some sleep.
if you need us.
He had fire watch, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's whoever watches the emblem for a few hours and
They were trying to keep it protected.
someone else goes, next. But either way, that was a real scene. They weren't in a dream.
Okay, well, that makes a lot more sense then. And that clears a lot of confusion for me. Because at first I was like, is this a dream? Is it not a dream?
I went back a few times to figure it out too because I wanted to figure out like when did they actually get put in a dream. And I think it was during the scene in the beginning where you see like a hand kind of like with smoke doing like some weird things before they got in.
Okay.
So was that the Wraith? Was that someone else? I'm not sure, but that's kind of when they got stuck in the dream.
Interesting. Well, if anyone else has some more clarifying comments, let us know.
Yeah, let us know
in the section below. Because
I'm pretty sure that was it. But that was another pacing, blip from Lord of Mysteries as usual.
I really like that they actually have an artifact that was dope in this episode that had a lot of power to it, besides the puppet, right? Because that's what the sun emblem was. It was another artifact that the Nighthawks kept guarded.
Exactly. Yeah, another artifact that they have in their little, tool shed.
Their treasure trove.
All right, let's talk about the fog scene where Klein enters his realm in order to examine the blazing sun emblem. I thought that was pretty cool. It showed some more personality of how the fog can kind of be used. And to me, it kind of convinced me that the fog might also be living as well, some sort of living entity.
I'm starting to think the same thing at this point. It has to be some entity that has some ulterior motives, somewhat with Klein.
Yeah.
But it is pretty neat how you can use divination in the Great Fog, and it can show you more details about things in the regular world that they're in.
Well, it could subvert like protections or I guess shields that are put on items or things. Klein can just take it into the fog, and I think it might work as long as he's holding the item itself.
Right. Which even then he says like he's not really holding the item, right? He's just like I guess his brain interprets how it was, and then it puts the item in his hand.
Holding the item.
He was, but in the Great Fog, he's not holding the item.
But in the physical world, he was.
Yeah,
what I'm saying. So maybe that might be why he was able to get around it.
But that is interesting though, because that means that if he at any point he just touches something and holds on to it, he doesn't need to have it anymore. He could just mentally think about how the item feels and how it appears.
Yeah, that might be something.
And call back into it in the Great Fog.
Yeah, that actually might be something useful because he said that the Great Fog basically created it based off his memory of being in the physical world. So maybe that might make some sense. He could probably recall items from the past. But as he's examining it, he gets kind of thrown into another realm.
Right, yeah. And that all happened because he touched the blood, which we know the golden droplets, which we now know is a blood of the god, right? It's the blood of the sun god that's there.
Yeah, and then the sun god kind of, that scene when he was burning, that was cool.
So
he's
crazy
like screaming.
looking.
He's like, oh God.
Yeah, I thought it was it for him.
Fire.
I was thinking in my head the whole time. I was like, is he gonna freaking in real life? Is he gonna have charred marks all over him?
Which this is also why I believe the fog might be living, is because it healed him. Klein was pretty surprised at the fog healing him, and then after the healing scene, he goes into a knowledge state. He's like he leveled up. He's like,
did.
He's like, is it because I looked into a god's eyes, or I guess, and survived?
And survived, yeah.
Yeah, he just like levels up from that. He gets knowledge.
Which is another mystery unlocked in this world that we're learning about. Apparently, the gods themselves give you knowledge if you pass certain trials for them.
Yeah, the fog scene was cool too because I like how he was like rewinding when he was reviewing like the past of the sun. He's like tapping and he like rewinds. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's sick how he could basically augment time in that world.
Yeah. And what's up with the white angel? Like they mentioned that. We didn't get much information, but I guess this is important for later on episodes because even Klein was a bit confused on what that was.
Yeah, again, another mystery, another clue to solve further on.
Yeah. I hope to see more information from the Church of the Blazing Sun. I kind of like that whole scene. It was really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait till they introduce characters from that church and other people that are down the sequence path that will follow the Church of the Blazing Sun.
Yeah. This whole episode kind of makes me think that like they might not even be praying to other deities or gods, but just like higher level beyonders.
I've thought that for quite some time now, but I wasn't sure how concrete of a theory it was.
Yeah, just an idea. Never know.
But we did get an introductory to sequence 4 potion this time. Right?
Yes, which it did. The episode didn't mention what the sequence 4 potion was, but there's speculation that the potion is the corpse potion that Azik uses.
The corpse collector?
The 4, yeah. Which it doesn't tell
pathway.
us. Exactly. It doesn't tell us what sequence Azik is at. But I'm guessing
No, not at all.
it's pretty high because according to the lore, that's the reason why he's immortal. It's the potion itself. He's achieved such a high level as a beyonder within his pathway. He now has a longer lifespan.
Yeah, I thought it was the witch, or maybe that he's somehow, related to that. What do you call it? That not that family, but that race of people that live
Antagonists?
the
Hornacious people. Well, yeah, I think the Hornacious, which is coming up in discussion later on, but I think there's some connection there. Yeah, we'll discuss it in a bit.
All right, well, let's go ahead and transition to the next scene when Klein walks into Azik's office and some tension happens here, right? When Clyde starts freaking out a bit.
Yeah, he's a little scared, apprehensive to walk in. Guessing his seer ability might be kind of warning him, giving him some warning signs about the whole situation. And I have a theory about that later on, by the way.
I mean, the show also built a lot of tension leading up to it. There was a lot of like foreshadowing too. He walked up into the building, the crows, the dark scene.
Well, Azik specifically, Klein calls him teacher or professor. He's always had a little tension around Klein. He's always been a little cold, calculated, and it's been a little strange.
Well, I mean, he knows Klein probably better than anyone else besides his family.
Yeah, he's more like a father figure, apparently.
Seems like it for sure.
To Klein directly. So, yeah, he would know him really well.
Even that call out with the sugar cubes was like key.
Yes, when he was like, hey, you usually take 1 sugar cube, and now you're taking 2. I think he kind of like knows a little bit something's going on with Klein.
Right.
And Klein's kind of hiding things, which is why he called them out too when he was like, you know of my past. You figured it out.
Well, actually, let's go ahead and talk about the drawing on the wall. Was that blood?
Yeah, it was his blood. He ripped his nails or something like that, I think. It was in the beginning scene.
It was in the beginning, and he made it seem like it was so nonchalant in the office. I'm surprised Klein.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I did a painting in my dreams. He's like, oh, I forgot to tell you. Right?
I would think Klein could smell the blood on the wall.
And Klein's just like, what is this? He's all horrified. He's like, this is the Hornacious Mountains, first of all. Or what? No, or maybe it was the Lamud Castle. It was the Lamud Castle.
It was the Lamud Castle, for sure.
Yeah, but Klein already came from that castle, and he saw the picture of Azik in the castle, and he kind of brushed it off. He's like, no, that can't be him.
Yeah.
But now I guess that's probably why it spooked him even more, because he figured out like, oh, that is him, That was a good episode. All right, let's move on to the scene where Klein reads the book that Azik gave him. I thought that was an interesting scene, too, because Azik's like, hey, you can't take it. Where are you going? Get back here. This isn't a library.
Right. And I thought that maybe he did that on purpose, right? Because he wanted to see Klein's reactions and kind of like almost like a test.
Yeah, because what was funny? Did you realize like Azik was teleporting?
No, teleporting.
You didn't see when he teleported right behind Klein? He's like, sit down, relax. And Klein's like, oh, crap. When did he get over there? Like, he was fast. You see how fast he was? It was very creepy.
Yeah, that whole scene was, they did a good job of, like, pacing it to give tension and make us, like, really question Azik's motives and where it was going to go. Because at one point, I thought even he was poisoning Klein with the coffee.
Yeah, they try to build him up to look like sort of like a bad guy, right? And then they hit you with the twist that he's not a bad person.
Yeah, and they kind of really diffused that a little bit sooner than I expected because, well, we'll get into that, but when following this scene, they kind of gave us right off the bat that he's not that bad, or at least,
Yeah, I mean, he's a man of culture and books. He's a teacher. But yeah, the lore in the Hornacious civilization was pretty cool. The fact that they sleep with corpses. Did you catch that part?
No, I didn't see that.
So when someone dies, they sleep with the corpse for 3 days.
Right, because the corpse is supposed to protect them.
Yes, exactly. So there's, I guess, theory that they are also part of corpse collector pathway. So this is the reason why the civilization was kind of had this type of lore and stories around them.
Okay.
So, that's why the connection with Azik is supposed to be.
Gotcha.
So, is there a further connection? Is he's from, this civilization, maybe his ancestors of some sort? Or maybe there's a past he just doesn't remember. He's been
Yeah.
alive for a long time.
Very, very long time. I mean, 1,500 years, give or take.
Yeah, he could have been the head horny chief. Every time I hear hornacious is what I think. Maybe he's the head horny chief, I don't know.
I did think it was pretty interesting that they called out the eternal, no, not the eternal blaze sun, but the crimson goddess, right?
The crimson goddess. Yeah.
It was basically their deity
Evernight,
as well.
Evernight goddess.
The Evernight goddess was their deity as well. So that Evernight goddess has been alive for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Well, there hasn't been any remains that they ever found.
That's right.
So there's a suggestion that they are involved with some type of resurrection ritual. Because they've never really, I mean, it's like a vanished civilization, kind of like Atlantis in a way.
Exactly.
Just poof, disappeared.
Yeah, everyone just disappeared and left the whole.
Yeah. I'm guessing we're going to get more information because Klein keeps seeing, seats, his dreams and things like that.
Mm-hmm, the throne and all that.
Yeah. We got the throne, we got red eyes, we got, strange things just popping up around this civilization.
All right, let's discuss the next scene that unfolds when Azik leads Klein to the Lamud castle.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. Once again, Klein was kind of scared to go in at first, and then he did his, divination to even confirm that he wasn't going to be hurt and he was going to be fine, which is interesting to see Klein do. Like, he's that afraid of Azik.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to tie in, right? Right before we transitioned to here, that they built all that tension and foreshadowing in other earlier episodes that Azik could be a bad guy, could have some nefarious plots or ideas with Klein, or plans rather, in store, but they kind of killed it right off the bat there with the scene when he basically Klein just laid it all out that he's going to be okay and that he's going to actually help him out in the future.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too, to show that Klein has those abilities to kind of predict his own future in a weird way and, figure it out. What a question to ask, right? Like, is this guy going to be of use to me in the future? It's like, sure, yeah, he'll help you out. That's funny. Okay, now the scene in the castle was pretty cool because, once he got there, he kind of had the flashback once he, held the sword in his hands. And then you'll see like a flashback of his child, his son.
Right, yeah, that was the big flashback because there was little mini flashbacks in between.
Yeah, and that was the Wraith, of course. His son was the Wraith, which resided over the castle for a very long time. Maybe he was angry his daddy left or something.
He's got daddy issues, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, that and other things that occurred to his body,
Right.
So within the scene, we flash to a scene where Azik's life is kind of flashing before our eyes. What do you think about that?
And that was a really cool, unfolding of events that happened in Azik's life. It was neat how they laid it all out. And it reminded me, did they have the fighting scene there? Was the fighting scene there, or was the fighting scene happening after he opened the tomb?
I think it was there.
I think it was there, because the tomb gave us some more scenes.
Yeah, the tomb gave us some more information, but I believe it all wraps in anyway. So what did you think about that scene? You talking about the one where he came out the pile of corpses, right?
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope.
So it looks to me that, his kingdom or, his fealty of whatever he pledges to was taken over and slaughtered, and somehow he came back to life we don't know yet. It looked like some witch was chanting a spell that was casting him back.
I thought the same thing, right? Let us know in the comments, right? What is the significance of the witch, right? Because we're being told, and the information we researched is that he has lived long because of his beyonder abilities, reaching a higher sequence. But there was a witch. She was chanting some things.
And his body came up, so it definitely didn't make any sense. I thought they were going to tell us more as the episode kept unfolding, but it didn't. It's just one of those things that they just sprinkle in and then...
Exactly. But you might be right. It looks like they destroyed his village or some sort, and then he came back and he took revenge. But did you notice the skeleton, the giant skeleton, is the same skeleton that kind of came out as Shadow in another episode?
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. But
So that
that's a
might
good
be
follow-up.
one of his abilities, like
Right.
a giant corpse skeleton.
I mean, if he is a level 4 corpse collector, there's probably level crazy things he could do.
I mean, honestly, he's one. This is one of my favorite Beyonder paths. It seems like it's pretty cool.
I mean, he's one of my favorite characters now. Period. I mean, Dunn was number 1, but now it's stepped
I
down.
actually like Dunn. Kenny from
do.
South Park.
I do. I love Dunn, man. He's still the OG, bro.
Yeah,
Keeps the team together.
that's true. But Azik took some hits, man, and then like all the swords, the knives that were in him, kind of like just started disappearing.
Right. I saw that it started turning ethereal.
Yeah, they just kind of slice everybody up. That was a really good emotional scene. I mean, it was extremely cinematic, and it gave us exactly what we needed to. I think the part that hit me the most, which was probably before then, is when the seasons were changing. And you were seeing the trees kind of change different colors, and his wife is like running down the hallway. It was really beautiful.
So yeah, this animation does just a wonderful job at cinematography all around. Like every episode does a great job of doing various forms of it. Like I think they even did a little bit earlier with the mouse. In the very beginning clip when the mouse was walking through the castle, that's like cinematography, showing you like different angles or views of portraying the scene in different ways. And they just do a phenomenal job of it. It gives it so much more life. And my favorite part was when he came out of the corpse like pile and it started like hacking and slashing. The way the angles came with him slashing, like he was running and they showed him from his first perspective running through with his footsteps, just like chopping off left and right.
Yeah, you're right. But it seemed like the most important parts of this whole flashback was kind of that scene, right? His immortality, his power, and then the fact that he had his connection with his wife and his connection with his son. But his connection with his son was more foreshadowed a lot heavily, obviously because of the wraith that was there. But that was pretty cool too to see, his son use the heavy sword and his son eventually becomes some type of knight.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess like his son protected the castle at one point.
Yeah, we need more information on that. There's got to be more, but I'm pretty sure his son had a significant role in the past, which is why they killed him and stuffed him in in his coffin,
Right.
alive too, which is crazy. Someone must have really hated him.
And sealed it with special magic.
Yeah, they're like, all right, you're going to stay in here for a very long time. Your body's not moving. All right, before we move on, if you want to gain the power of immortality, please hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can stay updated for more episodes.
Okay, then let's go ahead and deep dive into the coffin scene.
Yeah, so I thought there was some interesting parts about that coffin scene, aside from his family flashbacks and whatnot and his connection with his son. The blood scene where he kind of cut himself and he put the blood in the coffin and then he was like, find me the person who did this. And I'm guessing he meant the head, like chopping off the head of his son's body because it was within the last 3 months, according to Klein. So it was very fresh.
Wow.
So the blood hit Klein and then flung him into
Wall.
Azik's domain expansion.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think about the domain expansion scene?
And I mean, I love skulls, so it was pretty cool to see the actual giant door. Like, but what was it with the eyes? And I mean, I guess I can understand the symbolism of all the hundreds and thousands of skulls or corpses that came out of it was like all the dead bodies that Azik has like slaughtered through life. That's what I thought it was trying to symbolize.
Probably. I mean, because remember the scene where he was in the castle, he comes outside and all the spirits are out there and they're like master or something like that. So I'm guessing the people he kills, he kind of like resurrects their souls for his own purposes.
Yeah, it's like a necromancer.
Yeah. So maybe the eyes were kind of looking through the situation, like looking through Klein's soul in a way to figure out if he was the one who did it.
Oh, I see. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking as well. But I do think Klein is involved, right? However, it's no longer Klein.
I see.
It's out. So if he can't find the person who did it, then it has to be Klein. It's the only thing I can think of. So that's a foreshadow for something else in the future.
Quite possibly. I mean, again, we did see the call out to the feather from that one god.
Yes. So that's what, according to the lore, is there's some manipulative forces behind the situation as well. Some beings that were tampering with the body, trying to probably weaponize the body, his son's body, or use it for, whatever they want. But you did see the feather fall.
Right.
So that might have some connection to the true God.
The true god.
Yeah. He's always leaving feathers everywhere.
Yeah, this he has his feathers wrapped up in everywhere.
All right, so after the coffin scene, we meet Klein and Azik on the hill outside of the castle. And Azik's basically kind of explaining a little bit on what he's been going through and how he's lived many different lives and many different timelines. And then you have the scene where he shows all these floating picture frames and different family members. What do you think about, the emotions they're feeling on that hill?
Yeah, it's a very emotional scene. I really liked how they dropped some poetry in there a bit. And, when Klein called out that joy is fleeting, but loneliness lingers, is that the hollow pain, the sole constant in a timeless life? That hit pretty hard.
Yeah, that's a big one. And, Klein is kind of feeling the same way. He can relate to Azik's pain in that moment.
Right.
And I thought it was cool that, it turns out that Azik's dreams are really just his different lives. And he's lived many different lives, many different forms.
Yeah, I mean, they both have a lot of similarities between the two of them. And I love, again, this whole scene has a lot of emotional kind of poetry to it, with the whole call out how their ship lost at sea with no one to guide them.
Yeah, that's true. But, as far as Azik's amnesia that occurs, and he reappears always in a new era, and he can partially recall kind of like what happened in the past, and little by little he gains his memories. I think the truth is, Zhao, who now resides in Klein's body, even though he can relate because he's lost his family and, kind of lost the world that he was in, I think when Klein comes back, he's going to relate more with Azik than Zhao can, because Klein lost a whole slew of memories.
I don't even know if Klein's going to come back. I think he's gone.
I mean, according to Zhao, he's going to get back to his world, which brings us into the ending scene now, where Klein is actually self-reflecting and thinking about, how he does miss his family and how he cherishes Klein's actual family, Melissa and Benson.
Right.
And he says he wants to spend more time with them to have more memories.
So let's bring back the scene on the hill, because one thing that was a call out that was interesting to me that Azik mentioned was that every now and then he goes into a deep slumber that causes him to forget his memories.
Yeah, and there's no time frame on when the slumber might occur. And then apparently he wakes up in a new epoch, a new era each time. I mean, there's no telling how long he could actually be asleep for.
Right. There's a lot of symbolism with Azik and being a vampire.
Yeah, you might be right?
Like the whole, a lot of it ties.
Corpses, ghosts.
The whole tragedy, too, of vampires is that they live forever, but they can never have love because all they know is sorrow in their lives.
Yeah.
Because everyone around them dies.
Well, according to his story, most of them even die or have terrible tragedies before he even goes into his slumber.
Oh, wow.
So he's like some sort of cause to all the bad things that happened to them.
Yet something seems to keep turning him bad. It looked like, because even if I could recall the scenes when he had the flashbacks, he looked like pissed off and angry.
Yeah, he was very angry.
I wonder if there's something to do again with that witch. Maybe that is part of the curse. Like at one point she manipulates his mind or something to do evil things, and then he goes out and does something evil in the world.
Yeah.
And then goes into a slumber to forget about it all.
You might be right.
Wipe the reset.
Because it did seem like she was controlling him in his past, his dreams when he was showing it to Klein. So it does sort of look like he was being controlled. So I think you might be right. Maybe later on in the next few episodes, we'll learn more about this witch. She's got to be important in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for the next episode already. I could definitely tell I think they're going to keep giving us some more about Azik.
Yeah, we need more information on his son. Like, where's the body? What were they doing with it? What's Klein's relation?
Yeah.
The witch. And then the feather, how they all relate. All right, well, that concludes. Episode 6 isn't just about ghosts and tragedies. It quietly drops big lore and hints about Azik's immortality and the corpse collector pathway.
All right, guys. Well, let us know if there's any scenes that stuck out to you. And if there's any mysteries that we missed here, please go ahead and just drop them out in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care.